There is a fine line between madness and geniusness. And because I'm trying to build a small telescope that can match the resolution of one of the biggest observatories on the planet, a lot of people think I've crossed the line.
Not gonna lose.
To try and prove to everyone that I'm not mad, I decided to climb a massive volcano. Because at the top is one of the best places for astro in the world.
It's just crazy how nice it is here. It's like an absolute dream.
Here, my home-built scope Betty can finally show the doubters what she's made of.
Bad things are happening. Collimation is now way off.
But she's not working.
Third time tonight I'm getting collimation.
And in the morning, things go from bad to worse.
I've got a flat battery. I really am in trouble. Because there's no mobile reception. I'm gonna walk down the mountain. I'm gonna hope I find a phone signal. Angela is probably asleep. Now I am stuffed. Catastrophically stuffed.
Like I was saying, there's a fine line between geniusness and madness. And being as I'm on the verge of missing my flight back to London, because I'm stuck 2,100 meters up a volcano on a small island off the coast of Africa, in a place where, well, there's no one, and I'm not even sure I'm supposed to be here, then I think it's pretty obvious which side of the line I lie.
Astrobiscuit. Astrobiscuit.
Oh, bunny one can bunny.
It is I.
Are you here to welcome me into the halls of Nerdvana?
You'll only be welcome if you get your together. You must find a way to stabilize Betty's internals, no matter what the temperature. Then you'll stand a chance of fulfilling your destiny.
Oh, there's a car coming. I don't recognise the car, but if it's a friendly tourist with a jump lead, I might still catch my flight back to London.
Or is it the police come to take me away?
That's Angelo. Phew.
Really good. I've just got to say I love you very much.
Turns out Angelo's car got mashed up on the journey up here last night. So when he got my message, he had to rope in Italian action man Alessandro to rescue me.
Okay, fingers crossed, everybody.
Go for it.
Boom! So how am I going to thank you, Alessandro?
He likes girls.
He likes girls. I can dress up. That was the wrong thing.
Thanks, Angelo. Thanks, Alessandro. You guys have saved the mission. And for the record, I now know there are other observing sites also above the inversion layer, so just as good, which are way less hairy to get to. That, folks, is the Sea of Clouds. Wow. I'm going to make this promise. I'm going to fix Betty, and I'm going to come back here, because this place is incredible. Back at Biscuit Mansions, I start trying to figure out what's wrong with Betty. The weather's so crap, I can't actually test her, but at least I can see what she did in La Palma.
So, Rory, how did it go?
Didn't go according to plan, Benny. This is what Betty got in one night. The shots that Betty shot up the volcano reveal that 20 minutes after the first collimation, the stars had turned into misshapen donuts. And that means that the primary and secondary mirrors are going out of alignment.
Oh dear.
If we're going to match Kit Peak, the first thing we need to do is fix Betty. We've got to make her rock solid. And the second thing we have to do is go back up the volcano.
It's your destiny.
Annoyingly, the crappy weather meant me and robot engineer Kerry didn't get to test Betty until 11 days before departure. Alrighty, it's clear tonight, and we have fiddled around a bit with the back end to get it working better. To stop the primary mirror sagging, I've installed stronger springs, and also we've got additional locking nuts here. As far as I can tell, when the locking nuts are locked, the primary mirror just can't move. Kerry has been working on the very fancy secondary mirror, doing improvements. Kerry's wire vane design casts a minimal shadow on the primary, but it's not been without its issues. It's happened again. To reduce the risk of wire snap in the canaries, the wires weren't tensed up too much. Now, I believe, we can put much more tension on the wires without them snapping. Say yes, Kerry?
Yes, Kerry.
And that means, in theory, the secondary mirror should also be locked in place. But proof is in the pudding, and tonight we finally get to test my little giant killer out. It's probably going to be -10 up in the mountains, and there might be sheet ice up there. The extreme temperatures will push Betty to the limit. It'll be a good test to see how well they hold that, won't it?
It will, yeah.
It's not the clearest of nights, but it's clear enough. Come on, Betty. Come on. Kerry is in Starbucks.
So how did it go?
Yeah, Jesus. It went really badly. As the night progressed, the secondary got more and more loose, and now we're in trouble. I mean, I'm like 10 days away from going. Somehow the cold didn't tighten the wires. It actually made them go slack. How come these didn't shrink with the cold?
Wires will shrink, but the aluminium will shrink more. The difference is aluminium has a much higher coefficient of expansion than steel does.
Ultimately, it was the shrinking ring that made the wires loose. At least we now know why Betty didn't perform up the volcano, because that night the temperatures were plummeting too. I'm actually wearing my sleeping bag. I can't afford to go back to the Canaries with a loose secondary. So today, instead of building robots, Kerry is warming up his ultra-high precision CNC machine. And he's gonna completely rebuild the front end out of a single expensive, high-grade aluminium billet. Basically, we're gonna have the most stable front end to a Newtonian you can possibly imagine. Although the aluminium will contract as the temperature drops, because it's going to be carved out of a single uniform block, the centre will always remain at the centre. Not only that, because it's got 3 vanes, it's going to have those lovely 6 spikes, just like the James Webb Space Telescope. In my opinion, 3 vanes are better than 4, because 3 vanes diffract 25% less light. Operating the CNC machine for this incredibly important job is apprentice Cam. How many times have you operated this machine, Cam?
Too many times.
That's good. I always thought it might be your first time using it.
No. Spent my whole life on this machine.
And how accurate is it?
It goes down to 0.0003, I think.
3 microns.
That's what I've been told anyway. Let's just keep that out loud. So.
For the record, 3 microns is the size of a bacteria. This is exciting, folks. It's going to take an hour for Betty's new one-piece spider to get machined. While Cam keeps an eye on it, Kerry is putting together the other major component, our new secondary mirror holder. Rather than struggling with 3 screws to alter the angle of the secondary, which is quite a chaotic affair, we're going to do what they did back in the 60s. You just want to rotate your secondary and move the angle of the mirror up or down. The design is based on my 50-year-old Edmund Scientific 6-inch Newtonian. So this is the original one. It's got little sort of guide rings in here. That doesn't have any guide rings in it.
No. What we're doing is the two shoulders coming on the side, and we've allowed for 25 microns of clearance on either side.
So 25 microns is enough wiggle to get it in.
Enough wiggle to get it in.
There's impossible, but it just can't do any diagonal movement.
Can't do anything else.
Would they have been able to make this 50 years ago?
Yes, they could have got it as accurate, but from a cost point of view, it would have been hugely more expensive because that might have taken proper tradesmen a day to make.
At least I would have thought.
Yeah.
I think it looks sexy. And this method is 2 or 3 million times easier than the conventional 3 screws on a Newtonian, in my personal opinion. It's like the Mercedes logo, isn't it?
It's going on the front of my car now.
Yeah. Not much of that single expensive block of aluminium remains. Fingers crossed it was worth it.
I've got to say, that is quite possibly the sexiest front end of it. Let's go see. Yeah, have a feel of that. Put it on the bench. Like that. Go on, try and wiggle it.
Oh, bloody hell. That's rock solid, isn't it?
Yeah.
All secondaries are going to wobble a bit, but this secondary wobbles by less than a wavelength of light.
The analysis was right. 0.25 microns of movement. So it is bang on. Like that. That looks really, really nice.
Astrobiscuit. Return to the top of the volcano. This is your destiny. Also bring back carrots.
It's taken 3 years and countless thousands of pounds to get this close to achieving my dream. And yet one little cock-up will be a catastrophe, because there's no way I can afford to fly out here again. We have actually got a little bit of damage there. Betty's 3D printed back end is her weak point. And when I insert the primary mirror cell, it's possible this back end will split. I can just squeeze her in one last time. Betty Tube, we're gonna have to replace you, but one last time. Come on. Come on. Yes! Ooh. Well, that'll still work. To minimise the shadow on the primary mirror, Betty's always had a dangerously small secondary mirror, which will only work if it's very precisely placed. The fact that it's being attached perfectly centrally with these CNC machined vanes, I just think it's going to be great. Oh, and the spacing, right? Rather than messing around, moving your mirror forward and backwards, we just measured out a spacer. The spacer puts the secondary mirror right under the focuser in just the right spot. I have, of course, painted all the shiny bits in my favourite ultra black paint. And to reduce the chance of death by flat battery, I'm trying a more efficient power setup. Better work. If tonight Betty holds collimation all night long, tomorrow night we're going up the volcano. Betty is there. A moment ago she was pointing Andromeda, which is up there. I got beautiful collimation. Then I swung around here to point her up at Horse's Head, which is the star on the left of Orion's belt. And guess what? She still has good collimation, lovely donuts. So swinging her from one side of the universe to the other hasn't affected collimation. Yes, we're still a long way from the finish line, but I can't help but be a little bit excited.
The sky is beautiful. I can see the Milky Way. It's actually extremely dark.
Thanks to La Palma's strict light pollution rules, my Airbnb is actually darker than anywhere I've imaged in the UK.
Nobody breathe. Betty is working, and it blooming looks great.
Tonight, we're going for something special. A 2-panel mosaic of the horse's head.
Look at the detail on that puppy.
This is probably my favourite deep space target. It looks so 3D, and that's because of the shadows cast by the stars around Sigma Orionis. I've been wanting to get the perfect shot of this bit of space for ages, and tonight, folks, if Betty stays this sharp, is the night.
Remember how I said everything was going well? Well, last night from my bed, I heard the computer beeping. So I came out here to look at Betty, and everything had gone south.
Imaging had ceased, and my USB sockets were broken.
The car battery had gotten so low that not only did it make the camera stop working, it probably is the thing that buggered up the computer as well. The blooming astro gods have really got it in for me, haven't they? But I have the last laugh because I have just done a very quick process on what Betty managed to do, and this is just the luminance channel, and look at that. It's absolutely stonking.
The car battery lasted 4 hours, long enough to get this. And it tells me everything I need to know about Bessie and her new front end.
Bessie V2. She is a classy girl. She is really classy.
And she's now ready to take on Kit Peak up the volcano.
This is your destiny.
But you'll have to wait till next time to see if I book my ticket to Nerdvana. In the meantime, let's take a look at this. I am from the future.
The future!
Where Biscuit has been at the volcano. He is not going to tell you what happened up there because he wants to show you this.
Oh, wow.
This is one of the best shots of this region of space I've ever seen.
What, better than NASA?
Euclid actually did a nice shot of this region. Euclid does look a bit different though because it was shot in infrared. Hubble's done a nice horse head. I mean, hats off, Hubble's is a lot sharper. Well done, Hubble. But getting the whole of this section of the Orion B molecular cloud with the Flame Nebula, various other nebula, Sigma Orionis, the cluster of stars at the top right, which is lighting the whole thing. You know, getting all that in one shot, for me, this is one of the best I've seen.
Okay, but what am I looking at?
It's basically a big womb of dust and gas that gives birth to stars, and the stars then eat away at the dust and gas and burn it away. What's weird is that you've got this enormous horsehead shaped pillar thingy which isn't getting eaten away.
How big is that horse?
It's 24 trillion miles high, which I know doesn't mean a lot, but you can actually relate it to the human scale. The furthest humankind has travelled is Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, which have made it to the edge of our solar system. And it just so happens there's something about the size of our solar system just under the horse's head. These 3 dots in a line belong to a baby star that's just ignited and blown plasma jets off its north and south pole. The middle dot is roughly the size of our solar system. So humankind has travelled half the length of that dot.
My mind is officially blown.
Yeah, this is like the most enormous statue of a horse's head you could possibly imagine. I am doing a 500 strong limited edition print run. Normally I do 100. Normally they sell out in a week. This should last a bit longer. It's printed on super high quality paper, which I can't pronounce. I'll put the name of it here. The printers are blooming excellent. Postage is free to USA, Europe, and of course UK. Thank you. Kerry has sent me this. It's the next generation of Betty's secondary mirror holder. Say goodbye to the annoying 3 screws and say hello to perfect secondary mirror offset thanks to our jig and perfect position of the mirror under your focuser thanks to our clever little ruler thingy. Free postage to the USA, UK and Europe. If you want to fully bettify the front end of your Newtonian, you can. But to begin with, at least, you're going to have to come to Bridgend with your telescope so that Kerry can measure it exactly. Until now, Kerry has been making these things basically in his free time, which is non-existent. But if they sell, he'll be able to do Astrobiscuit projects in his work time. And that's very exciting because I've got some very big plans. So fingers crossed. Massivo thank you to the Right Royal RICKTENSTEIN. You can buy his music on Bandcamp, or even better, subscribe, which is kind of like Patreon and gives you access to all of his music and special extras, including an interview with yours truly. And an even bigger thank you to my patrons, because without you guys, films like this would be completely impossible to make. Nor can I make these films if I die up a volcano, so huge thank you to Alessandro the Action Man. He is opening an Astro Camp on the volcano slopes. If you're interested, link below. A mega nerdy mega shout out to the mods and wonderful people on the Astrobiscuit Discord server. You guys are doing such a good job. It really is a success, thank you. While you're waiting to see me and Betty up the volcano, why not binge the series of The Making of the Betty? The Making of the Betty, the Betty, the Betty, the Betty. Bye!